Chapter 1. Ryan Haskins pressed his palms flat against the kitchen counter, watching the coffee maker sputter its final drops into the carafe. 6:15 a.m. The house was silent except for the machine's dying gurgle and the tick of the wall clock. This used to be his favorite time of day, before the world woke up, before the demand started. Now it just felt like borrowed peace. He poured coffee into his favorite mug, the one Jake had painted for him at summer camp 2 years ago. The uneven letters spelled "World's Best Dad" in primary colors, now slightly faded from too many trips through the dishwasher. Ryan traced the red D with his thumb. "You're up early." He turned. Sophia stood in the doorway, her dark hair pulled into a messy bun, wearing one of his old college t-shirts. Even at dawn, rumpled and sleepy, she was beautiful. They'd been married 9 years, together for 12, and some mornings he still couldn't believe she'd chosen him. "Couldn't sleep," Ryan said. He poured her a cup without asking. 2 sugars, splash of cream. "Big presentation today." Sophia accepted the mug, their fingers brushing. "You'll do great." "You always do." Ryan managed to smile. He was a project manager at Meridian Construction, overseeing the development of a new medical complex downtown. It was the biggest project of his career, and yes, today's presentation to the investors mattered. But that wasn't what had kept him staring at the ceiling since 4 a.m. It was Jake. His son had been different lately. Withdrawn, quiet at dinner, quick to retreat to his room. 8 years old, and suddenly acting like a teenager. Ryan had tried to talk to him, tried the usual dad approaches, video games, shooting hoops in the driveway, even attempted the "we can talk about anything" speech. Jake had just shrugged and said he was fine. But Ryan knew his son, and Jake wasn't fine. "How's the presentation prep?" Sophia asked, leaning against the counter beside him. "Good. David thinks we're in strong shape." David Erickson, his work partner and closest friend, had helped him refine the pitch for weeks. "We should know by end of day if they're committing to the full budget." "They'd be idiots not to," Sophia said. She bumped his shoulder with hers. "You've put everything into this." Ryan nodded, staring into his coffee. He had. Long hours, late nights, weekends. Maybe too many. Maybe that's why Jake was pulling away. Ryan hadn't been as present as he should be. Guilt twisted in his gut. "Hey." Sophia's hand found his. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Just nervous." She studied him with those sharp hazel eyes that always saw too much. But before she could press, footsteps thundered down the stairs. Jake burst into the kitchen, backpack bouncing, sneakers untied. "Morning, buddy," Ryan said, relief flooding through him. Jake looked normal. Messy brown hair, gap-toothed grin, the same kid who'd been obsessed with dinosaurs last year, and now couldn't stop talking about space. "Morning." Jake grabbed a granola bar from the pantry. "Can Grandpa Clint pick me up from school today? He said he'd take me to that new arcade." Ryan's hand tightened around his mug. Clint Sherwood, Sophia's father. The man showed up 3 months ago after being absent for most of Sophia's childhood, claiming he wanted to make amends and be part of the family. Sophia, too forgiving for her own good, had let him back in. Ryan had reservations from day one. Clint was charming, sure, too charming. The kind of smooth talker who always had an angle. He'd been a salesman, a gambler, a drifter. He'd left Sophia and her mother Dina when Sophia was 10, leaving them scrambling and struggling. Now he was back, playing doting grandfather, and Sophia wanted to believe he'd changed. Ryan didn't buy it. Men like Clint didn't change. They just got better at the con. "I don't know, Jake," Ryan started. "It's a school night." "Please, Dad. Just for an hour. Grandpa Clint is really cool." Sophia touched Ryan's arm. "It's fine. Dad's been great with Jake." Ryan looked at his wife, saw the hope in her eyes. She wanted this to work. Wanted her father to be the dad she'd never had, the grandfather Jake deserved. How could he deny her that without sounding paranoid? "1 hour, Ryan said, "and you need to finish your homework first." Jake hooped and bounded over to hug him. "Thanks, Dad. You're the best." Ryan hugged him back, breathing in the smell of his son's shampoo. "Love you, buddy." "Love you too." After Jake ran upstairs to grab his books, Sophia kissed Ryan's cheek. "Thank you. I know you're not Dad's biggest fan, but he's really trying." "I know." Ryan forced another smile. "I just want Jake to be safe." He will be. My dad loves him. Ryan nodded, said nothing more. But as Sophia headed upstairs to get ready for her shift at the hospital, she was a pediatric nurse, which meant she understood kids better than anyone. Ryan stood alone in the kitchen and felt that gnawing unease. Clint Sherwood, silver-haired, perpetually tanned, always with a story and a smile. He'd rented an apartment 2 miles away, visited twice a week, showered Jake with attention and gifts. And Jake, hungry for that kind of male bonding while Ryan worked long hours, had latched onto him. Ryan should be grateful. Should be happy Jake had another positive male figure in his life. So why did it feel wrong? The presentation went well. By 3 p.m., Ryan had the investors nodding, asking engaged questions, showing genuine interest in the timeline and budget projections. David gave him a subtle thumbs up from across the conference room. By 4 p.m., they had a tentative yes pending final paperwork. Ryan should have been elated. This was career-defining. Instead, he kept checking his phone. Jake's school let out at 3:15. Clint was picking him up, taking him to the arcade. 1 hour, Jake had promised. At 5 p.m., Ryan called Sophia. Hey, have you heard from Jake? He texted me 20 minutes ago, Sophia said. He could hear hospital sounds in the background, beeping monitors, distant voices. They're at the arcade having fun. Dad said they'd be home by 6. Okay, good. Ryan, relax. Everything's fine. He wanted to believe that. He drove home, fighting rush hour traffic, telling himself he was being paranoid. Clint was probably exactly what he appeared to be, a man trying to make up for lost time. Jake was probably having the time of his life, winning tickets, eating too much candy. Normal grandfather-grandson stuff. Ryan pulled into the driveway at 5:40. Sophia's car wasn't there yet. She worked until 7. The house was dark and empty. He went inside, changed out of his suit, tried to grade some work emails. Couldn't focus. At 6:30, Clint's white Cadillac pulled up. Ryan watched from the window as Jake climbed out, waving goodbye. Clint waved back, that million-dollar smile flashing, then drove off. Jake came through the front door, quieter than usual. Hey, buddy. How was the arcade? Good. Jake didn't meet his eyes. I'm gonna do homework. Want to tell me about it first? What games did you play? Just stuff. I really need to do homework, Dad. Jake disappeared upstairs before Ryan could respond. That knot in Ryan's stomach tightened. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. He gave Jake 30 minutes, then went upstairs and knocked on his son's door. Come in. Jake sat at his desk, math worksheet in front of him, pencil tapping against the paper. He wasn't writing anything. Ryan sat on the edge of the bed. Jake, you know you can talk to me about anything, right? I know. If something's bothering you, or if someone's making you uncomfortable. I'm fine, Dad. Jake's voice cracked slightly. Can you leave me alone? Ryan's heart cracked. Jake had never spoken to him like that. They'd always been close, always been a team. Now his son couldn't look at him, couldn't even be in the same room. Okay, Ryan said softly. But I'm here, whenever you're ready. He left the room, closing the door gently behind him. Stood in the hallway, feeling helpless and angry and scared all at once. Something had happened. Something involving Clint Sherwood. And Ryan was going to find out what. Chapter 2. 3 days passed. 3 days of Jake avoiding him, of forced conversations at dinner, of Ryan watching his son slip further away. Sophia noticed too, finally, but when Ryan suggested maybe Jake should spend less time with Clint, she'd gotten defensive. My father isn't the problem, she'd said. You're working 80-hour weeks. Maybe Jake's reacting to that. The words stung because they held truth. Ryan had been buried in work. But this felt different. This felt specific. On Thursday evening, Ryan came home early, left the office at 4, told David he needed to sort some family stuff. Sophia was working a double shift at the hospital. Jake would be home alone, which meant it was Ryan's chance to really talk to him. He found Jake in the living room, playing a video game with the sound muted. The TV flickered with colorful characters jumping across platforms. But Jake's expression was blank, his hands moving mechanically on the controller. Hey, bud, want some pizza? We could order from Giovanni's. Get that one with the extra cheese you like. Not hungry. Ryan sat down on the couch beside him. Jake, we need to talk. About what? About what's going on. About why you won't talk to me anymore. Jake's character died on screen. He didn't restart, just stared at the game over message. Is it school? Are kids giving you trouble? No. Is it me? Did I do something wrong? Jake's jaw tightened. For a moment, Ryan thought he might actually answer. Then Jake dropped the controller and stood up. I have homework. Jake, I said I have homework. His son's voice rose, cracking with emotion. Why don't you just leave me alone like you always do? The words hit like a punch. I don't, Jake, I'm here. I'm trying. But Jake was already running upstairs, and moments later Ryan heard his bedroom door slam. Ryan sat alone in the living room, head in his hands. He was losing his son and didn't know why. Didn't know how to fix it. His phone buzzed. A text from David. Investors signed off. We're greenlit for the full project. Drinks tomorrow to celebrate. Ryan stared at the message. The biggest professional achievement of his life, and he felt nothing. Just hollow. He texted back. Congrats. Need a rain check. Then he went upstairs and stood outside Jake's door, listening to his son cry on the other side. Friday afternoon, Ryan left work at 2 p.m. He didn't tell anyone, just grabbed his keys and drove. Not home, to Jake's school. He parked across the street with a clear view of the pickup area. Parents were already lining up, cars idling. Ryan slid down in his seat, feeling ridiculous. He was a grown man, stalking his own son's school like some paranoid detective. But something was wrong. He knew it in his bones. At 3:15, kids poured out. Ryan spotted Jake immediately, spotted the way his son walked slowly, shoulders hunched, scanning the parking lot, looking for Clint's white Cadillac. There it was, pulling up right on time. Clint got out, all smiles and waves. Jake walked over, and Ryan watched the exchange. Clint said something. Jake nodded, shoulders tensing. Clint put a hand on Jake's shoulder, leaning in close, speaking directly into his ear. Jake flinched. It was subtle. Anyone else might have missed it. But Ryan saw it. Saw his son pulled back slightly, saw the discomfort in his posture. Then Clint's hand tightened on Jake's shoulder, and Jake went still. Compliant. Ryan's hands gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles went white. They got in the car. Clint drove off. Ryan followed. He kept 2 cars back, feeling like a character in a bad movie. But he didn't care. Whatever was happening, he needed to know. Clint didn't go to the arcade. He drove to his apartment complex, a dated building on the east side, the kind with rust stains on the stucco and weeds pushing through the parking lot cracks. He and Jake went inside. Ryan sat in his car, engine off, watching the second-floor window. After 10 minutes, he couldn't take it anymore. He got out, crossed the parking lot, climbed the exterior stairs to the second floor. Found apartment 2C. He pressed his ear to the door. Voices. Muffled. Clint's low rumble, Jake's higher pitch. He couldn't make out words, but there was tension in the tones. Then silence. Ryan's hand went to the doorknob. Tested it. Locked. He stood there, warring with himself. He could knock. Demand to know what was going on. But what if he was wrong? What if it was innocent? What if it wasn't? Before he could decide, his phone rang, loud in the quiet hallway. Ryan swore, fumbled to silence it. Inside the apartment, movement. Footsteps approaching the door. Ryan bolted, ran down the stairs, heart hammering, feeling stupid and panicked and protective all at once. He made it to his car as the apartment door opened above. Clint's voice called out, "Hello? Someone there?" Ryan slid low in his seat, waited. After a moment, the door closed. He sat there for another hour. At 4:30, Clint and Jake emerged. They got in the car, drove to Jake's house, and Clint dropped him off. Normal. Routine. Like nothing was wrong. Ryan waited 5 minutes, then drove home. Jake was in the kitchen, drinking juice, when Ryan walked in. "Hey, buddy. How was your day?" "Fine." Jake wouldn't look at him. "Where were you?" "Work." "How was time with Grandpa Clint?" Jake's hand tightened around his juice glass. "Fine." Ryan crouched down, bringing himself to eye level. "Jake, if anything's wrong, you can tell me. I promise I won't be mad." For just a moment, Jake's eyes met his. Ryan saw fear there. Real, bone-deep fear. His son's lip trembled. "Jake!" Then the moment passed. Jake's face went blank again. "Nothing's wrong. Can I go play now?" Ryan let him go, watched him leave, and felt something dark and furious coil in his chest. Whatever Clint Sherwood was doing to his son, It ended now. That night, after Sophia came home and Jake was in bed, Ryan made a decision. He waited until Sophia fell asleep, then crept downstairs to his office. He opened his laptop and started researching. Clint Sherwood. He knew bits and pieces from Sophia, the absent father, the gambling problems, the string of failed businesses. But he needed more. Ryan found old arrest records. Public records. Nothing recent, but 20 years ago, Clint had been arrested twice. Once for fraud, once for theft. Charges dropped both times. He found bankruptcy filings. He found addresses in 6 different states over 15 years. But he didn't find anything that explained what was happening now. At 1 a.m., Ryan heard a noise. He froze, listening. It came from upstairs. From Jake's room. Ryan climbed the stairs quietly. Jake's door was cracked open. Inside, his son was sitting up in bed, talking. Ryan pushed the door open. Jake was on his phone, the cheap one they'd given him for emergencies only. He was texting someone. When he saw Ryan, he jumped, nearly dropping the device. "Jake? Who are you texting at 1 in the morning?" "No one. Just a friend." "Let me see the phone." "Dad." Now Jake. His son's face crumpled. For a second, Ryan thought he'd hand it over. Then Jake's thumb moved, fast, swiping and tapping. Deleting messages. "Jake, what are you doing?" "Nothing." Jake shoved the phone under his pillow. "Just leave me alone." Ryan stood there, heart breaking and anger building. "Give me the phone." "No, Jake. I hate you." His son screamed it, tears streaming. "I hate you, and I wish you weren't my dad." The words hit like bullets. Ryan staggered back, speechless. Jake buried his face in his pillow, sobbing. Ryan heard footsteps. Sophia appeared, bleary and confused. "What's going on?" "Nothing," Ryan managed. "Bad dream." He left the room, left Sophia to comfort their son, and went downstairs. Sat in the dark kitchen. His hands were shaking. Jake had never said anything like that. Never. They'd been close. They'd been best friends. And now his son hated him. Ryan pulled out his own phone. Opened the tracking app Sophia had insisted they install when Jake got his phone. For safety, she'd said. Ryan had never used it. Never needed to. He pulled up Jake's phone history. Location data. Text logs. Most of the texts were deleted, but the metadata remained. Jake had been texting one number repeatedly over the past 3 weeks. Dozens of messages, all to the same contact. Ryan cross-referenced the number. Clint Sherwood. His father-in-law was texting his 8-year-old son. Late at night. In secret. Messages Jake was deleting. Ryan's blood went cold. He scrolled through the location history. Jake's phone showed him at Clint's apartment 3 times a week. Not just quick visits. Hours at a time. And looking at the timestamps of the text messages, Ryan saw a pattern. Clint would text Jake late at night. Jake would respond. Sometimes for hours. Secret conversations. About what? Ryan took screenshots of everything. Backed them up to his email. Then he sat there in the dark, jaw clenched, understanding crystallizing. Clint Sherwood was manipulating his son. Isolating Jake from him. Turning his boy against him. But why? What was the endgame? Ryan didn't know yet. But he was going to find out. And when he did, Clint Sherwood was going to regret ever coming back into their lives. Chapter 3. Saturday morning. Sophia was at work, a rare weekend shift to cover for a sick colleague. Jake was still asleep, exhausted from his late-night breakdown. Ryan stood in his son's doorway, watching him sleep, seeing the tear tracks still visible on his cheeks. He waited until Jake stirred, then brought up breakfast, pancakes, bacon, orange juice. Jake's favorites. "Hey, buddy. Thought you might be hungry." Jake sat up, eyeing the food suspiciously. "What's this for? Does it have to be for anything?" "I made pancakes." They ate in silence. Jake on his bed, Ryan sitting in the desk chair. Ryan waited, patient. Finally, Jake spoke. "Sorry about last night." "It's okay. I didn't mean it." "About hating you." Ryan's throat tightened. "I know. Jake's voice broke. "I'm confused." "About what?" Jake stared at his plate. Didn't answer. Ryan took a breath. "Jake, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Is Grandpa Clint making you uncomfortable?" Jake's whole body went rigid. "Has he asked you to keep secrets?" No response. "Has he told you not to tell me things?" Jake's fork clattered onto his plate. I can't. You can tell me anything. He said you'd try this. Jake's head snapped up, eyes blazing with something that looked like betrayal. He said you'd ask questions and try to turn me against him. Ryan felt like he'd been slapped. What else did he say? That you don't really love me. That you're always at work because you don't want to be home. That he's the only one who really cares about me. The words gutted him. Ryan forced himself to stay calm. Jake, that's not true. I love you more than anything. He said you'd say that too. Jake's voice was thick with tears. He said you'd lie. I'm not lying. How do I know? Jake screamed. You're always gone. You never have time for me. Grandpa Clint's the only one who listens. Ryan wanted to argue, to defend himself. But Jake was right about one thing. He had been working too much. Clint had found the crack in their relationship and wedged it open. What else has he told you? Ryan asked quietly. Jake shook his head. I can't tell you. I promised. You promised him? He said. Jake's voice dropped to a whisper. He said if I told you, he'd have to leave. And Mom would be sad. And it would be my fault. Ryan's vision went red. Clint was manipulating an 8-year-old, making him carry the weight of adult problems, isolating him. Classic grooming behavior. Jake, listen to me. Nothing that happens is your fault. Do you understand? Nothing. And I'm not going anywhere. I love you. Mom loves you. Whatever Grandpa Clint has told you, we can work through it together. Jake looked torn, scared. Ryan could see him warring with himself, wanting to trust his father, but held back by whatever poison Clint had planted. I need to think, Jake finally said. Can you just leave me alone for a while? Ryan wanted to push, wanted to demand answers, but Jake's eyes were pleading. Okay, but Jake, I'm going to fix this. I promise. He left the room, closing the door softly. Then he went downstairs and called David. Hey man, what's up? You okay? You sounded weird yesterday. I need your help. Can you come over? It's important. David arrived 20 minutes later. Ryan let him in, glanced upstairs to make sure Jake's door was still closed, then led David to his office. What's going on? David asked, concern evident. They'd known each other since college, been through everything together. If anyone would understand, it was David. Ryan showed him everything. The text logs, the location data, the pattern of manipulation. He explained Jake's behavior, the things Clint had been saying. David's expression grew darker with every revelation. Jesus, Ryan, this is really bad. I know, but I don't know what to do. If I go to Sophia with this, she'll defend him. She wants to believe he's changed. What about the police? And tell them what? He's texting my son? Taking him to his apartment? Sophia gave permission for all of it, without evidence of actual abuse. Ryan's hands clenched. They'll say it's a family matter. So what are you going to do? Ryan stared at the computer screen, at the evidence of Clint's manipulation. I'm going to get more evidence. I'm going to find out exactly what he's doing and why. And then I'm going to make sure he never gets near Jake again. How? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. David leaned back, studying him. You need to be careful. If Clint realizes you're onto him, then what? He's a con man, not a killer. Are you sure about that? You said yourself, you don't really know him. Ryan hadn't thought of that. The idea sent a chill through him. All the more reason to move fast. They spent the next 2 hours planning. David, always the logical one, suggested they needed more concrete evidence. Something undeniable. Something Sophia would have to believe. What about audio? David suggested. If you could record one of their conversations. He'd never allow me near enough. Not you. Jake. Ryan looked at him. What do you mean? Jake has a phone. If he could access it remotely, install some kind of monitoring software. That's Jake's privacy. I can't just. Ryan, someone is actively harming your son. This isn't about privacy anymore. Ryan knew he was right. Hated that he was right. But David was correct. This was about Jake's safety. Okay, how do we do it? David pulled out his laptop. There's software that can mirror a phone's activity to another device. Messages, calls, everything. If I can get access to Jake's phone for 15 minutes, I can set it up. He's upstairs now. I could get it. Do it. Ryan crept upstairs. Jake's door was closed, and he could hear his son talking on the phone again. Of course. Ryan eased the door open. Jake was facing away, phone pressed to his ear. I know, but he was asking questions. Pause. No, I didn't tell him anything. Okay, I promise. Ryan backed away before Jake could notice. Couldn't take the phone now. He'd have to wait. He returned downstairs. He's on it right now. Probably talking to Clint. We'll get another chance, David said. In the meantime, what do you know about Clint's background? Really know? Not much. Sophia doesn't talk about him. Maybe that's where we start. If he's running some kind of con, there's usually a pattern. Let me do some digging. David left with a promise to call as soon as he found anything. Ryan spent the rest of the day in a fog, going through the motions. When Sophia came home at 6, exhausted from her shift, she found Ryan making dinner while Jake sat silently at the kitchen table. Everything okay? She asked. Fine, Ryan lied. Just a quiet day. That night, after everyone was asleep, Ryan's phone buzzed with a text from David. Call me. Found something. Ryan slipped out to his car, called from the driveway. What did you find? Clint's been in town longer than he told you. I found rental records. He's been here for 6 months, not 3. Ryan's grip tightened on the phone. Why would he lie about that? That's not all. He's got connections to some questionable people. I found social media links, photos from last year. He's been hanging around with a woman named Harriet Matthews. She's got a record, fraud, identity theft. Send me everything. Already did. But Ryan, there's more. I found court documents from 15 years ago. Clint was investigated in connection with a custody case. Someone accused him of manipulating their kid to turn against the other parent. Ryan's blood went cold. What happened? Charges were dropped. Insufficient evidence. But the accusations were there. Parental alienation. Grooming behavior. Sound familiar? He's done this before. Looks like it. But Ryan, if charges were dropped once, they might drop them again. You need ironclad evidence. I'll get it. How? Ryan thought of the garage confrontation mentioned in his mind, the plan forming. Leave that to me. Chapter 4. Sunday morning, Ryan woke with purpose. He'd spent half the night researching parental alienation, grooming tactics, and manipulation patterns. Everything fit. Clint was textbook, isolating Jake, turning him against Ryan, creating dependency. But why? Ryan thought about the custody case David had mentioned. Maybe that was it. Maybe Clint wanted custody of Jake somehow. But that didn't make sense. He wasn't a legal guardian, had no standing. Unless... Ryan's mind raced. What if Clint was planning to use Jake against him and Sophia? Create so much chaos in their marriage that they split up? Then Sophia, emotionally vulnerable, might turn to her father for support. And Clint would have access to what? Money? Sophia's nursing salary was decent, but not life-changing. Their house was mortgaged. They had some savings, but nothing extraordinary. Unless Clint knew about the medical complex project. The bonus Ryan would receive when it was completed. 6 figures, enough to change their financial situation significantly. Ryan sat up in bed. That was it. Clint wasn't just manipulating Jake for emotional control. He was positioning himself to get access to that money. Probably through Sophia. Drive a wedge between Ryan and his wife. Convince Sophia that Ryan was a terrible father. Encourage a divorce, then help her through it. Help himself to the settlement. It was devious. It was calculated. And it would work if Ryan didn't stop it. Sophia stirred beside him. You're up early again. Couldn't sleep. She propped herself on one elbow. Ryan, you've been distant all week. Is something wrong with the project? No, the project's great. We're greenlit. Then what? Ryan looked at his wife. Wanted to tell her everything. But he knew Sophia. She'd defend her father. Need concrete proof before believing anything negative about him. She'd spent her childhood with an absent father. Now that Clint was back, she was desperate for it to work. Distress, Ryan said. Big project, you know how it is. Sophia studied him, not quite believing but let it go. I'm worried about Jake too. He's been so withdrawn. I know. Maybe we should take him to see someone. A therapist. Maybe. Ryan seized the opportunity. Actually, I was thinking we should all spend more time together. Just the 3 of us. Take a break from outside influences. Sophia frowned. What do you mean? I mean, Jake's been spending a lot of time with your dad. Maybe we should dial that back a bit. Her expression hardened. Ryan, My father is finally being the grandfather Jake deserves. Why would we dial that back? I just think you don't like him. You never have. That's not. It is. Sophia sat up fully. You've been skeptical since day one. Dad's trying, Ryan. He's really trying. And Jake loves spending time with him. Does he? Or is Clint telling Jake what to think? What's that supposed to mean? Ryan knew he was pushing too hard, too fast. Nothing. Forget it. No, you said it. What are you implying about my father? Sophia, I'm just saying maybe we should be more involved in Jake's life. And we are involved. I'm home every evening. I don't work. You're the one who's gone all the time. The argument spiraled from there. It ended with Sophia grabbing her gym bag and leaving to clear her head, and Ryan standing alone in the bedroom, knowing Clint had already done his damage. Already planted seeds of doubt in Sophia too. He found Jake in the living room, watching TV. Hey buddy, want to do something today? Just you and me? Jake didn't look away from a screen. Like what? Whatever you want. Movies, mini golf, that new pizza place you mentioned. I'm supposed to see Grandpa Clint today. Maybe we could reschedule with him. Have a father-son day. Jake finally looked at him. Why you hate Grandpa Clint so much? I don't hate him. He says you do. He says you're jealous because I like spending time with him. Ryan's jaw clenched. Jake, that's not true. I'm happy you have a relationship with your grandfather. I just want to spend time with you too. You're always working. I know, and I'm sorry. But I'm here now. So what do you say? Jake hesitated. For a moment, Ryan thought he'd won. Then Jake's phone buzzed. He checked it, and his expression closed off. I already made plans with Grandpa Clint. I don't want to cancel. Jake, can I just go now? Please. Ryan wanted to say no, wanted to forbid it, but that would only push Jake further away, make Clint's case about Ryan being controlling. Okay, Ryan said, but I want you home by 5. And Jake, I love you, no matter what anyone says. Jake mumbled something and went upstairs. Ryan sat down heavily on the couch, feeling like he was losing a war he couldn't even fight properly. His phone rang. David, hey, got something else. Can you meet me? When? Now. Coffee shop on Main. 20 minutes later, Ryan slid into a booth across from David, who had a laptop open and a grim expression. What did you find? David turned the screen around. It showed bank records, Clint's bank records. Don't ask how I got these. Let's just say I have a friend who owes me a favor. David, do you want to know or not? Ryan nodded. Clint's broke. Not just broke, seriously in debt. He owes money to some very bad people. $60,000 to a loan shark based out of the city. Due in 4 weeks. Ryan's stomach dropped. 4 weeks. Yeah, and look at this. David pulled up another document. I found emails between Clint and Harriet Matthews, that woman I mentioned. They're working together. Planning something. They reference the mark and the payout. Ryan, I think that mark is you. What's the payout? I don't know exactly, but one email mentions at least $100K once the settlement comes through. They're planning a con. They're going to use Jake to destroy your marriage, then convince Sophia to divorce you and take everything she can get. Ryan stared at the evidence, rage building. That son of a bitch. There's more. I found photos on Harriet's social media. She's been watching your house, taking pictures of your routine, your schedule. They've been planning this for months. That's why Clint was here before he told us. He was setting it up. Exactly. And Ryan, it gets worse. I found messages between Clint and Jake. I managed to recover some deleted texts from Jake's phone backup. How did you? Family sharing settings. You're still the admin on Jake's iCloud. I pulled the backup. David showed him the messages. Ryan read them, his vision blurring with fury. Clint had been systematically poisoning Jake against him for weeks. Telling Jake that Ryan didn't love him, that Ryan was planning to leave, that Clint was the only one who truly cared. He'd been grooming Jake to testify against Ryan in a custody hearing. This is insane, Ryan breathed. It's calculated. And it's working. Ryan, you need to act now. If this goes to court, if Sophia believes Clint's version of events, you could lose everything. Your son, your marriage, your money. Ryan's hands shook with barely contained rage. I need to stop this. Ow! I don't know yet, but I'm going to confront Clint. Get him to confess on record. He'll never confess. He will if he thinks he's won. If he thinks I'm broken. Ryan's mind was working now, forming a plan. I'm going to give him what he wants. I'm going to make him think his con worked. What do you mean? I'm going to pretend to fall apart. Make it look like my marriage is crumbling. Make Clint think victory is right around the corner. Then, when he's confident and cocky, I'll get him to show his hand. David looked skeptical. That's risky. You have a better idea? Yeah. Go to the cops with this. And tell them what? That my father-in-law is texting my son? That he's in debt? That he has a criminal associate? None of it's illegal. Not yet. I need a confession. I need him to admit what he's doing and why. David sighed. Okay, but you need to be smart about this. If Clint figures out you're onto him, he won't. I'll be careful. They spent the next hour planning. Ryan would stage a fight with Sophia, a big one that Clint would hear about through Jake. He'd move out, make it look like the marriage was over. Meanwhile, David would help install monitoring software on Jake's phone so they could track all communications with Clint. And Ryan would engineer a confrontation, one where he'd get Clint to reveal everything. It's going to take perfect timing, David warned. I don't care. I'm getting my son back. That evening, Ryan staged the fight. He waited until Jake was in earshot, then picked a fight with Sophia over dinner about Clint's involvement in their lives. He let himself get loud, angry. Sophia responded in kind, defensive of her father. Jake sat frozen at the table, watching his parents scream at each other for the first time in his life. It ended with Ryan grabbing his car keys and storming out, not coming back. He spent the night in a hotel, hating himself for scaring Jake, but knowing it was necessary. His phone blew up with texts from Sophia, apologizing and asking him to come home. From Jake, short messages that said, "Dad, and are you okay?" And then, tellingly, nothing more. Because Jake had texted Clint. Ryan knew he had, and Clint would be celebrating, thinking his plan was working perfectly. Ryan lay in the hotel bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the garage confrontation he was planning. He needed to be smart. Record everything. Get Clint to confess on tape. Then he'd have what he needed. He just had to wait for the right moment. Chapter 5. Ryan returned home Monday morning, playing the part of the defeated husband. Sophia was getting ready for work, eyes red from crying. They had a tense, quiet conversation where Ryan apologized for overreacting and promised to work on his issues with Clint. Sophia bought it, relief evident on her face. "I just want our family to be okay," she said. "Me too." Ryan kissed her forehead, hating the deception but knowing it was necessary. Jake was quieter than ever at breakfast. Wouldn't look at Ryan. His phone kept buzzing, and Ryan knew. Clint was texting him, probably coaching him on how to respond to Ryan's return. After Sophia and Jake left, her to work, him to school, Ryan called David. "I'm in. Got the software ready." "Yeah, I need Jake's phone for 10 minutes. I'll get it tonight." Ryan went through his day on autopilot. The medical complex project needed his attention, but he could barely focus. His mind was on Jake, on Clint, on the plan forming in his head. That evening, he offered to help Jake with homework. Jake reluctantly agreed, bringing his backpack to the kitchen table. While Jake was in the bathroom, Ryan grabbed his phone from the backpack, took it to his office, and called David on his own phone. "I've got it. Walk me through this." David guided him through installing the monitoring software. It took 8 minutes. Ryan got the phone back in Jake's backpack just before his son returned. "Thanks for the help, Dad," Jake said, though his tone was flat. "Anytime, buddy." By midnight, Ryan's phone was synced to Jake's. He could see everything, every text, every call, every app opened. He waited until everyone was asleep, then checked. Clint had texted Jake 17 times that day. The messages made Ryan's blood boil. "Your dad is angry because he's losing control. Don't worry, I'll protect you. If they fight again, you can come stay with me. You'll be safe here. Remember, your dad works all the time because he doesn't care about you. I'm the one who's always there. Don't tell your mom what we talk about. She wouldn't understand. And the worst one, if your dad tries to keep you from seeing me, you need to tell your mom he's being mean to you. She'll believe you. Then we can fix everything." Ryan screenshot everything, backed it up in 3 places. This was evidence. This was manipulation. But he needed more. He needed Clint to explicitly state his endgame. Over the next 3 days, Ryan played his part perfectly. He was subdued around Sophia, apologetic. He gave Clint space, didn't object when Jake spent time with him. He was the broken man Clint expected. Meanwhile, he watched the messages flow. Clint grew more confident, more explicit. He told Jake that soon things would change for the better. That Ryan wouldn't be a problem much longer. That Clint would make sure Jake was taken care of. David continued his investigation, finding more evidence of Clint's debts, more emails with Harriet Matthews. They were definitely planning something big. References to the settlement and custody arrangements confirmed Ryan's suspicions. On Thursday evening, Ryan got his opening. Jake came home from school and quietly told Sophia that Clint had invited him to stay over this weekend. Like a sleepover? Sophia asked, surprised. Yeah, he has movies and games and stuff. Can I go? Ryan watched Sophia's face. The hope there, the desire for her father to be the man she'd always wanted him to be. I don't know, Jake. You've never stayed overnight before. Please, Mom? Grandpa Clint said it would be fun. Sophia looked at Ryan. He knew what he had to do, even though it killed him. Maybe it's a good idea, Ryan said carefully. Jake and Clint have bonded. One night won't hurt. Jake's eyes widened in surprise. Sophia looked uncertain. Are you sure? She asked Ryan. Yeah. If Jake wants to go, he should go. Permission granted, Jake bounded upstairs to pack. Sophia touched Ryan's arm. Thank you. I know this is hard for you. I'm trying, Ryan said. And he was trying to trap a predator. That night, after Jake left with Clint, Ryan put his plan into motion. He texted David, "It's happening. Get ready." Then he drove to Clint's apartment complex and parked in a spot with a clear view of the building. He had recording equipment in his glove box, a small voice recorder David had given him. He watched the lights in Clint's apartment, watched Jake's silhouette move past the window. At 10 p.m., he texted Jake, "How's it going, buddy?" Jake responded, "Good. Watching movies." At 11 p.m., Clint's apartment door opened. A woman emerged, mid-40s, bleached blonde hair, hard eyes. Harriet Matthews. She got into a car and drove away. So they were meeting, planning. Ryan photographed her license plate, sent it to David. At midnight, the lights in Clint's apartment went out. Ryan waited another hour, then drove home. Tomorrow would be the day. Tomorrow, he'd set the trap. Friday afternoon, Ryan called Sophia at work. "Hey, can you pick Jake up from Clint's after your shift? I have to work late. Some crisis with the project." "Sure. Is everything okay?" "Just construction delays. Nothing major. Love you." "Love you too." Ryan hung up, guilt churning. But this had to work. He called David next. Phase 2. "I need you to call Clint. Use a burner phone. Tell him you're from the loan shark's office. Tell him his payment is due this weekend, or there will be consequences." "Ryan, are you sure?" "Just do it. I need him panicked and desperate. That's when people make mistakes." David made the call. Ryan listened on speaker as he delivered the threat. Clint's voice went tight with fear. "I'll have it. I just need a few more days. You have until Sunday, midnight, or we send someone to collect." The call ended. Ryan checked Jake's phone remotely. Clint immediately texted Jake, "Change of plans. I need to run an errand tomorrow morning. You'll stay here with the TV. Won't be long." Ryan smiled grimly. Clint was panicking, trying to figure out how to get money fast. And Ryan was betting he'd reach out to his accomplice, Harriet. Sure enough, Clint called Harriet. Ryan couldn't hear the conversation, but he saw its aftermath in texts. "We need to move up the timeline. Can you get access to her accounts by Monday?" Harriet's response, "If you can get the info, yes. But you said you needed more time." "No choice now. The mark needs to break this weekend. Then we move." "What about the kid?" "He's insurance. If the wife hesitates, the kid testifies." Simple. There it was. The confession Ryan needed. They were planning to use Jake as a weapon, get access to Sophia's accounts, take whatever they could, and disappear. Ryan screenshot everything, sent it to David. "Got them. Now we spring the trap." Saturday morning, Ryan told Sophia he needed to run errands. Instead, he drove to his bank, withdrew $5,000 in cash, put it in an envelope. He drove to a pawn shop, bought a cheap watch, put that in another envelope. Then he drove to Clint's apartment. He knocked. Clint answered, surprised to see him. "Ryan, what are you doing here?" I need to talk to you. It's important. About Jake. Clint's expression shifted, calculating. Jake's here. Maybe this isn't the best time. It won't take long. Can we talk in your garage? I saw you have storage there. Clint hesitated, then nodded. They went downstairs to the parking garage. Clint's storage unit was filled with junk, old furniture, boxes. Ryan stepped inside, Clint following. Ryan turned, faced him. The voice recorder was in his pocket, already running. I know what you're doing. Clint's smile didn't waver. What are you talking about? I know about your debts. About Harriet. About your plan to destroy my marriage and take our money. For a second, real fear flashed in Clint's eyes. Then he laughed. You're paranoid, Ryan. Maybe that's why Sophie is so unhappy. My son told me everything. That got him. Clint's smile faltered. Jake wouldn't. He did. Last night. Told me how you've been coaching him, telling him to lie about me. Told me about the plan. Clint's jaw clenched. You're delusional. Ryan pulled out his phone, showed him the screenshots. The text between Clint and Jake. The emails with Harriet. The evidence of death. Clint's face went pale, then red. Where did you get that? Doesn't matter. What matters is I have it. And I'm going to the police. You can't. That's illegal. So, is conspiracy to commit fraud. So, is parental alienation. So, is financial exploitation. Ryan stepped closer. You're finished, Clint. Clint's mask finally cracked. The smooth charm vanished, replaced by cold rage. You self-righteous prick. You have no idea what it's like to have nothing. To be desperate. I was owed that money. Sophie is my daughter. She's not your meal ticket. She owes me. I gave her life. And what did I get? Abandoned by her mother. Left with nothing. Clint was shouting now, years of resentment spilling out. His family owes me. You left them. You were the one who disappeared. Because there was no money. But now there is, and I'm taking what's mine. By destroying an 8-year-old, Jake will be fine. Better off without a workaholic father who barely notices him. I notice him plenty. Then why was he so easy to turn against you? Clint sneered. Face it, Ryan. You're a shitty father. I just helped Jake see the truth. Ryan's fist clenched. He wanted to hit him. Wanted to smash that smirk off Clint's face. But he held back. He had what he needed. You're not getting a penny, Ryan said quietly. And you're never seeing Jake again. Clint laughed bitterly. You can't stop me. Sophia will believe me over you. She always does. Her dear old dad. Try to reconnect. He leaned in close, voice dropping to a hiss. I'll make sure Jake tells everyone how terrible you are. How you neglect him. Abuse him, even. Who do you think they'll believe? A decorated nurse's father, or an absent workaholic? You destroy your own grandson. He's a means to an end. Kids are resilient. He'll get over it. Clint straightened. Now get out of my garage before I call the cops for harassment. Ryan smiled coldly. Pulled out the voice recorder. Held it up. Everything you just said? Recorded. Clint's face went from confident to terrified in an instant. He lunged for the recorder. Ryan stepped back, pocketed it. Touch me, and it gets worse for you. You son of a bitch. I'm going to give you a choice, Ryan said, voice calm despite the rage burning inside him. You have 48 hours to leave this state. Pack your shit. Tell Sophia whatever lie you want about why you're leaving, and go. If you're gone by Monday morning, I won't press charges. The recording stays private. You disappear from our lives forever. And if I don't, Ryan stepped closer. Let Clint see the cold fury in his eyes. If I ever see you near my family again, there won't be a conversation. There won't be a warning. There won't be police or lawyers or recordings. Do you understand me? The threat hung in the air. Clint swallowed hard, seeing something in Ryan's eyes that scared him more than debt collectors or legal troubles. You're making a mistake, Clint said weakly. No, you made the mistake. You came after my son. Ryan's voice dropped to barely a whisper. I will burn everything down to protect him. Everything. So take the deal, Clint. 48 hours. Or find out what happens when you push a father too far. He turned and walked out, leaving Clint standing in the garage, the weight of his choices crushing down on him. Chapter 6. Ryan drove home, hands shaking on the wheel. He'd done it. He'd gotten the confession, delivered the ultimatum. But the hard part wasn't over. He still had to tell Sophia. Still had to undo the damage Clint had done to Jake. He parked in the driveway, sat for a moment collecting himself. His phone buzzed. David, did you get it? Every word. Thank God. What happened? I gave him 48 hours to leave. You think he'll take it? I think he's a coward. Cowards run when cornered. And if he doesn't, Ryan's jaw tightened. Then we go to the police with everything. But I'm betting he runs. He's got nothing to gain by staying and everything to lose. He went inside. Sophia was in the kitchen, making lunch. She looked up, smiled. Hey, how are errands? Good. Is Jake back yet? Picking him up in an hour. Why? We need to talk. After Jake gets home. After he's settled. We need to have a serious conversation. Sophia's smile faded. About what? Your father. Her expression hardened. Ryan, we've been over this. Please. Just trust me. After Jake's home, I'll explain everything. Something in his tone made her stop arguing. She nodded slowly. Okay. The next hour dragged. Ryan paced, checked his phone compulsively. The recording was backed up in 5 places: his phone, his computer, the cloud, David's computer, even a physical copy. He wasn't taking chances. Finally, Sophia left to get Jake. Ryan waited, anxiety churning. When they returned, Jake ran straight upstairs without saying hello. Sophia followed Ryan into their bedroom. Okay, talk. Ryan pulled out his phone, pulled up the evidence. Started from the beginning. Showed her the text messages between Clint and Jake. The manipulation, the lies. Showed her the financial records, the emails with Harriet Matthews, the evidence of the con. Sophia's face went from skeptical to confused to horrified as she read. This can't be real, she whispered. My father wouldn't. There's more. Ryan played the recording from the garage. Sophia listened to her father's voice. Heard him call Jake a means to an end. Heard him talk about the con. Heard him threaten to make Jake lie about Ryan. By the end, tears were streaming down her face. He was using Jake, she said, voice breaking. He was using all of us. Ryan pulled her into his arms. I'm sorry. I know you wanted to believe he'd changed. I was so stupid. I wanted him to be the father I never had. I wanted it so badly I couldn't see. Her voice cracked. Jake. Oh God, Jake. What has he done to our son? We'll fix it. We'll get Jake into therapy. We'll undo the damage. But Sophia, I need you to back me on this. Your father can't be around Jake anymore. He can't be around any of us. She pulled back, wiping her eyes. What did you do? I gave him 48 hours to leave the state. Told him if he doesn't, we press charges and file for a restraining order. Sophia nodded, face hardening. Good. I want him gone. There's one more thing. We need to tell Jake the truth. Age appropriately, but he needs to know why Grandpa Clint is leaving. Otherwise, he'll blame himself. They went to Jake's room together. He was lying on his bed, staring at the ceiling. Jake, we need to talk to you, Sophia said gently. About what? About Grandpa Clint. Jake sat up, defensive. Did Dad tell you lies about him? They're not lies, buddy, Ryan said, sitting on the edge of the bed. Your grandfather hasn't been honest with us. He said some things to you that weren't true. Things designed to make you not trust me. That's not. Jake, I heard the recording, Sophia said, her voice firm but kind. I know what Grandpa Clint has been saying to you. About your dad, about our family. Honey, none of it was true. Grandpa Clint was trying to hurt us. Jake's face crumpled. But he said he loved me. I'm sure part of him does, Ryan said carefully. But he was also using you. And that's not okay. So Grandpa Clint is going to go away for a while. A long while. Because of me? Jake's voice broke. Because I told him stuff? No, buddy. None of this is your fault. Grandpa Clint is an adult who made bad choices. You didn't do anything wrong. But I was mean to you. I said I hated you. Ryan pulled Jake into a hug. You were confused. And I understand. But Jake, I need you to know something. I love you. I have always loved you. I'm sorry I've been working so much. That's going to change. I'm going to be here more. But even when I'm busy, even when I mess up, I will always love you. Always. Jake sobbed into his shoulder. Sophia joined the hug, and they sat there as a family, holding each other while Jake cried out weeks of confusion and pain. Is Grandpa Clint ever coming back? Jake finally asked. No, Ryan said. He's not. Good, Jake whispered. I don't want to see him again. Some of the things he said, they scared me. Ryan and Sophia exchanged looks over their son's head. They get Jake into therapy next week. Start undoing the damage. It would take time, but they'd do it together. Sunday evening, Ryan's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Ryan Haskins? Yeah. This is Harriet Matthews. Clint told me what you did. Ryan's blood chilled. Where's Clint? Gone. Ran like the coward he is. Left me holding the bag. Her voice was bitter. Thought you should know, the guys he owes money to? They're not happy he disappeared. They're looking for someone to pay. I told them about you. I didn't borrow money from them. No, but you're why Clint can't pay. Figure they might want to have a conversation with you about that. Ryan's grip tightened on the phone. If anyone comes near my family, relax. I'm not that vindictive. Just thought you deserved a heads up. Those guys don't mess around. She paused. Clint used me too, you know. Promised me a cut that'll never come. So maybe we're both victims here. Difference is I didn't try to hurt a kid. True. Harriet laughed without humor. Good luck, Ryan. You're going to need it. She hung up. Ryan stared at his phone, new worry gnawing at him. Clint's debts. The loan sharks. He called David immediately. We might have a problem. After explaining the situation, David was quiet for a moment. Okay, here's what we do. First, you file a police report. Get everything on record. Clint Kahn, the threats, all of it. Second, you install a security system. Cameras, alarms, the works. Third, you vary your routine. Don't be predictable. You think they'll actually come after me? I think desperate people do desperate things. Better safe than sorry. Monday morning, Ryan filed a police report. Showed them the evidence, the recording, everything. The detective listened, took notes, assured Ryan they'd investigate. They'd issue a warrant for Clint's arrest, track him down. Ryan drove to Jake's school, talked to the principal. Explained the situation. No one except Ryan or Sophia was authorized to pick up Jake. If anyone else tried, call the police immediately. The principal agreed, made notes in Jake's file. By Monday afternoon, Ryan had installed security cameras at the house, changed the locks, and varied his route home. He was probably being paranoid, but probably wasn't good enough when Jake's safety was on the line. That evening, David came over with news. Clint's gone. Like really gone. I have a contact who tracked his credit cards. He drove straight to Mexico. Crossed the border yesterday. Mexico. Makes sense. No extradition for fraud. He's probably planning to hide out until the heat dies down. What about the loan sharks? That's the interesting part. I asked around, very carefully, and apparently Clint's debt was sold. Someone bought it off the original lender. Who? David grinned. You're not going to believe this. Me. Ryan stared at him. What? I had some money set aside, called in a favor with a guy I know. Bought Clint's debt for 30 cents on the dollar. Figured it was worth it to make sure no one came after you. David, I can't let you. You're not letting me anything. Consider it an investment in my best friend's safety. Besides, now if Clint ever shows his face again, I own him. Legally. David's smile turned sharp. And I can make his life hell. Ryan didn't know what to say. Thank you. You do the same for me. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Ryan asked, do you think it's really over? With Clint? Yeah. He's too much of a coward to come back. With Jake, David's expression softened. That'll take time. But you're a good dad, Ryan. You'll get through this. Ryan hoped he was right. Chapter 7. 2 weeks later, life had started to find a new normal. Jake was seeing a therapist twice a week, a kind woman named Dr. Pamela Pratt who specialized in childhood trauma. She was working with Jake to untangle the manipulation, rebuild his self-esteem, and process what had happened. Ryan had cut back his hours at work. David had taken on more of the project management, insisting Ryan needed to focus on family. The medical complex would still get built, just with Ryan working reasonable hours instead of brutal ones. Sophia had thrown herself into understanding parental alienation, reading everything she could find. She blamed herself for letting Clint back in, for not seeing the signs, for putting Jake at risk. Ryan kept reminding her that Clint was a professional con man, that she couldn't have known. But I should have, she said one night, lying in bed beside him. I'm his mother. I should have protected him better. You did protect him. We both did once we knew. That's what matters. She curled into him. I keep thinking about what might have happened if you hadn't figured it out. If Clint's plan had worked. But it didn't. We caught in time. Barely. Ryan held her tighter. She was right. It had been close. Too close. If Ryan had waited even a week longer, if he hadn't been paying attention, if he hadn't acted, he pushed the thoughts away. They'd won. That was what mattered. Jake was getting better too. Slowly, but noticeably. He smiled more. Talked more. Started sleeping through the night again without nightmares. One evening, he came downstairs while Ryan was watching TV. "Dad, can we play that video game? The one we used to play together?" Ryan's heart swelled. "Absolutely, buddy." They played for 2 hours, and it felt like old times. Jake laughing at Ryan's terrible strategy. Ryan pretending to be offended. The comfortable rhythm of father and son doing something simple together. After Jake went to bed, Sophia hugged Ryan. "Thank you." "For what?" "For saving our son. For being the father he needed. I should have been that father all along." "You were. You are. Clint just made you doubt yourself." "But Jake never doubted you, not really." That's why the manipulation hurt him so much, because deep down, he knew the truth. Ryan hoped she was right. Hoped that when Jake looked back on this years from now, he'd remember his father fighting for him. Not the weeks of alienation, but the moment Ryan stood up and said enough. 3 weeks after Clint fled to Mexico, Ryan got a call from the detective handling the case. "Mr. Haskins?" "Detective Kentman, I wanted to update you on Clint Sherwood." "Did you find him?" "Not yet. But we did find his accomplice, Harriet Matthews. She's been arrested on fraud charges related to a different case. During questioning, she gave us a lot of information about Sherwood's operation. Turns out you weren't his first target. He's been running variations of this con for 15 years. Ryan's stomach turned. 15 years. At least. Different states, different families. Always the same pattern. A strange parent returns, targets grandkids, creates chaos, exploits the situation financially. He's made hundreds of thousands doing this. Jesus. Matthews says he's done this at least 8 times that she knows of. Probably more. We're working with other jurisdictions now, building a case. When we find him, and we will, he's going away for a long time. What about the other families? The other kids? We're reaching out. Some of the cases are old, the kids are adults now, but they deserve to know what happened. And some might want to press charges. After the call ended, Ryan sat in his office, processing. 8 families. 8 kids manipulated and traumatized. How many relationships had Clint destroyed? How many children had he used as pawns? Ryan's anger burned cold and steady. Clint Sherwood deserved everything coming to him. But there was something else. Pride. Pride that he'd stopped Clint. That he'd protected his family. That he'd been smart enough, strong enough, determined enough to see through the manipulation and fight back. His phone buzzed. "David. Hey, you watching the news?" "No, what?" "Turn on channel 7. Ryan grabbed the remote, switched channels. A news anchor was talking. "Fugitive wanted for fraud and parental alienation in multiple states has been located in Mexico. Clint Sherwood, 57, was arrested by Mexican authorities this morning and will be extradited to the United States to face charges." The screen showed Clint's mugshot, disheveled, scared. Nothing like the smooth charmer who'd shown up 3 months ago. "They got him," Ryan breathed. "They got him," David confirmed. Guess Mexico wasn't as safe as he thought. "Good." Ryan felt a weight lift off his shoulders. "That's good." He watched the rest of a news segment, which detailed Clint's crimes, mentioned multiple victims, showed clips of Detective Man explaining the investigation. At the end, the anchor said, "If you or someone you know has been affected by parental alienation, resources are available." Ryan turned off the TV. It was over. Really, truly over. Clint would face justice. The other families would get closure. And Jake was safe. He went upstairs, found Jake reading in bed. "Hey, buddy, can I come in?" "Sure." Ryan sat on the edge of the bed. "I wanted to tell you something. The police found Grandpa Clint. He's been arrested." Jake's eyes widened. "He has?" "Yeah. He's going to face consequences for what he did. To us and to other families." "There were others?" "Yes. You weren't the only one he hurt. But it's over now. He can't hurt anyone else." Jake was quiet for a moment, processing. Then, quietly, "Good. How are you feeling?" "I don't know." "Confused?" "Relieved." Jake looked up at him. "Is it weird that I'm sad too? Even though he was bad?" "Not weird at all. You cared about him. He was your grandfather. It's okay to have complicated feelings. Dr. Pratt says that too. Dr. Pratt's smart. Jake smiled a little. Yeah. He hesitated then. Dad, I'm sorry I said those things to you. The mean things. You don't have to apologize. I want to. I was wrong. You're not a bad dad. You're the best dad. Ryan's eyes stung. He pulled Jake into a hug. I love you so much, buddy. Love you too, Dad. The trial was 6 months later. Ryan and Sophia attended, leaving Jake with David and his wife. They want to see Clint face justice. Clint looked different in court, smaller somehow, stripped of his charm and confidence. He wore an orange jumpsuit, his silver hair greasy and unkempt. When his eyes met Ryan's across the courtroom, there was no smirk, just defeat. The prosecutor presented the evidence. Recordings, emails, testimony from Harriet Matthews and other victims. 8 families came forward, some with children now grown who testified about the lasting damage Clint's manipulation had caused. Ryan took the stand, played his recording, explained what Clint had done to Jake. The jury listened, their faces growing harder with each revelation. Sophia testified too, her voice steady as she described the betrayal of her father using her son as a pawn. Clint's defense was weak, tried to paint himself as a desperate man making poor choices, tried to claim he really did care about his daughter and grandson. The jury didn't buy it. Guilty on all charges. Fraud, conspiracy, child endangerment, parental alienation. 15 years, no parole eligibility for 7. As they led Clint away, he looked back at Sophia one last time. She met his gaze, her expression cold and unforgiving. Goodbye, Dad, she said quietly. He flinched as if struck, then disappeared through the courthouse doors. Outside, reporters crowded around, but Ryan and Sophia pushed through to their car. They drove home in silence, processing. It's really over, Sophia finally said. Yeah, it is. Do you think Jake will be okay? Long term, I think he'll be better than okay. He's strong. He's resilient. And he has us. Sophia nodded, wiping tears. Thank you. For fighting for him. For us. Always. Chapter 8. 1 year later. Ryan stood in the backyard, watching Jake play with a new puppy, a golden retriever they'd gotten 2 months ago named Cooper. Jake was laughing, throwing a tennis ball, completely carefree in a way Ryan hadn't seen in a long time. Dr. Pratt had said Jake was doing remarkably well. The therapy had worked. Jake had processed the manipulation, understood it wasn't his fault, and rebuilt his sense of security. He was thriving in school, had made new friends, and most importantly, his relationship with Ryan and Sophia was stronger than ever. He looks happy, Sophia said, coming up beside Ryan and slipping her hand into his. He does. We all do. Ryan looked at his wife. They'd been through hell and come out the other side stronger. Their marriage had been tested, but it hadn't broken. If anything, the experience had brought them closer. I've been thinking, Sophia said, about starting a support group for families who've gone through parental alienation. That's a great idea. I talked to some of the other families from the trial. A few are interested. I thought maybe we could help others who are going through what we went through. Ryan pulled her close. You're amazing, you know that? I learned from the best. Jake ran over, Cooper bounding at his heels. Dad, Mom, watch this trick I taught Cooper. They watched as Jake put Cooper through a series of simple commands: sit, stay, shake. Cooper obeyed most of them, his tail wagging enthusiastically. That's great, buddy, Ryan said. You're a natural dog trainer. Jake beamed. Can we get another dog? Let's see how we do with one first, Sophia laughed. Later that evening, after Jake was in bed and Cooper was snoring in his dog bed, Ryan sat in his office, looking at photos on his computer. There was one from a year ago, Jake's school picture from 3rd grade, taken right in the middle of Clint's manipulation. Ryan could see the tension in Jake's forced smile, the guardedness in his eyes. Then there was one from last week, Jake's 4th grade picture. The difference was striking. Jake looked genuinely happy, relaxed, confident, like himself again. Ryan's phone buzzed. A text from David. Beer tomorrow night? Celebrate the medical complex finally being done. Absolutely, Ryan typed back. The medical complex had been completed last month, 6 months ahead of schedule. Ryan's bonus had been even bigger than expected. They'd used some of it to take a family vacation to the Grand Canyon, some to start Jake's college fund, and some to donate to organizations that help families dealing with parental alienation. The rest sat in savings, a reminder that money wasn't what mattered. Family did. Ryan turned off his computer, checked on Jake one last time, saw him sleeping peacefully, Cooper curled at the foot of his bed, then went to his own bedroom. Sophia was already asleep, her face peaceful in the dim light from the hallway. Ryan slid into bed beside her, careful not to wake her. He lay there, listening to the quiet sounds of his house, the hum of the air conditioning, the distant bark of a neighborhood dog, the settling of floorboards. A year ago, his family had been under attack. A year ago, he'd been fighting for his son's trust, his marriage's stability, his family's survival. Now peace. Hard-won, precious peace. He closed his eyes and slept. Chapter 9. 3 years later. Ryan sat in the audience of Jake's middle school auditorium, watching his son receive an award for academic achievement. Jake stood on stage, confident and poised, delivering a short speech about the importance of perseverance. There was a time when things were really hard, Jake said, his voice clear and steady, when I felt confused and lost. But my parents never gave up on me. They fought for me, even when I couldn't fight for myself. So this award isn't just mine. It's theirs too. Ryan felt Sophia squeeze his hand. He blinked back tears. After the ceremony, Jake ran over, medal around his neck. Did you see, Dad? Did you see? I saw, buddy. I'm so proud of you. Can we get ice cream to celebrate? Absolutely. They went to Jake's favorite ice cream shop. The three of them squished into a booth, laughing about Jake's dramatic fall during the award ceremony walk that he'd played off like nothing happened. Classic Jake, Sophia teased. Always sticking the landing even when there is no landing. I'm graceful, Jake protested through a mouthful of chocolate chip. You're something, Ryan agreed, ruffling his hair. On the drive home, Jake asked casually, Dad, do you ever think about Grandpa Clint? Ryan glanced in the rearview mirror. Jake's expression was curious, but not upset. Dr. Pratt had warned them Jake might ask about Clint as he got older, as he tried to make sense of what happened. Sometimes, Ryan said honestly. Do you? Sometimes. Mostly I just feel bad for him. Bad for him? Yeah. Like, he must have been really broken inside to do what he did. To hurt people he was supposed to love. Ryan exchanged a look with Sophia. Their son's empathy, even for someone who'd tried to destroy him, was remarkable. That's a very mature way to look at it, Sophia said gently. Dr. Pratt and I talked about it. She says hurt people hurt people. Grandpa Clint must have been hurt really bad. That's true, Ryan said. But it doesn't excuse what he did. I know. I'm not saying I forgive him or anything. Just that I understand better now. They pulled into the driveway. Jake hopped out, Cooper barking excitedly at the door. As Jake ran inside, Sophia turned to Ryan. He's going to be okay. He already is. No, I mean really okay. Not just surviving, but thriving. Did you hear that speech? That's our son. I know. Ryan's voice was thick with emotion. We did good. You did good. You saved him. We saved him. Together. Inside, Jake was playing with Cooper, the dog jumping around him in circles. Ryan watched from the doorway, a sense of contentment settling over him. This right here was what mattered. Not the job, not the money, not the achievements. This. Family. Love. Protection. Later that night, after Jake was in bed, Ryan and Sophia sat on the back porch, sharing a bottle of wine under the stars. I got a call today, Sophia said, from a support group. They want to expand, maybe go national. They asked if I'd consider being on the board. What did you say? I said I'd think about it. It would mean more time commitment, more work. But Ryan, we've helped so many families already. If we could reach more people, then you should do it. You sure? Absolutely. You're incredible at it. And Jake's old enough now that he doesn't need as much hands-on attention. What about you? How's work? Ryan smiled. Good. Great, actually. David and I are partners now, officially. Equal say in the company. We're bidding on another major project downtown. That's amazing. It is. But I'm keeping boundaries this time. No more 80-hour weeks. No more missing Jake stuff. I learned that lesson. Sophia leaned against him. We've come so far. We have. They sat in comfortable silence, listening to the night sounds, crickets, distant traffic, the rustle of wind through trees. Ryan thought about the last 3 years. The therapy sessions, the court appearances, the slow rebuilding of trust and normalcy. The moments of doubt and fear. The victories, small and large. Jake's first genuine laugh after months of sadness. Sophia's first full night of sleep without nightmares about what could have happened. Their family finding its footing again. Do you think he'll ever get out? Sophia asked suddenly. Clint, when his sentence is up. Ryan had thought about this. Maybe, in 7 years, he'll be eligible for parole. But even if he gets out, he's not coming near us. The restraining order is permanent. And if he tries, Ryan's jaw set, then we deal with it. But I don't think he will. Last I heard, he's a model prisoner, staying out of trouble. Maybe he actually learned something. I hope so. For his sake. Ryan looked at his wife. You don't owe him anything. Not your sympathy, not your forgiveness. I know, but I can still hope he finds some kind of redemption. Not for him. For me. So I can fully let it go. Ryan understood. Sophia was working on her own healing too. Dealing with the betrayal of her father, the guilt of bringing him into their lives. Her therapist said she was doing well, but some wounds took time. You're a better person than I am, Ryan said. No, just different. They finished the wine, went inside, checked on Jake one more time, a routine they'd maintained even as he got older. Jake was fast asleep, Cooper curled up beside him, both of them peaceful and content. Ryan closed the door gently. As he walked down the hallway to his own bedroom, he passed the wall of family photos. There was their wedding picture. Jake as a baby. Family vacations. Birthdays. Holidays. A life documented in moments. But his favorite photo was newer, taken 6 months ago at Jake's school play. Jake was on stage in a ridiculous costume. Mid-song, his face lit up with joy. Ryan and Sophia sat in the front row, watching with huge smiles. David had taken the picture from behind them, capturing not just Jake, but their reaction to him. That photo said everything. Pride, love, presence. The family they'd fought to protect and rebuild. Ryan got into bed. Sophia was already half asleep, but she curled against him instinctively. Love you, she murmured. Love you too. He lay there, Sophia's breathing deepening into sleep, and thought about the man he'd become. Before Clint, he'd been drifting, working too much, disconnecting from what mattered. The crisis had forced him to wake up, to fight, to remember what was truly important. In a twisted way, Clint had given him a gift. Not intentionally, not kindly, but the outcome remained. Ryan was a better father now, a better husband, a better man. He'd looked into the abyss of losing his family and said no. He'd stood his ground, used his intelligence and determination, and won. Not just won, protected, preserved, saved, and that was worth everything. 5 years after the trial. Jake was in high school now, 15 years old, tall and confident. He'd grown into a remarkable young man, kind, smart, resilient. He still saw Dr. Pratt occasionally, but more as a check-in than regular therapy. The trauma had healed, leaving scars but not defining him. Ryan and Sophia's support group had grown beyond their wildest expectations. They'd helped dozens of families, provided resources and advocacy, even lobbied for better laws around parental alienation. Sophia had become a passionate advocate, speaking at conferences, writing articles. She'd found her calling. David and Ryan's company thrived. They'd completed 3 major projects, earned industry recognition, built a reputation for quality and integrity. Ryan worked hard but smart, present for his family, successful in his career, balanced in a way he'd never managed before. One Saturday afternoon, Ryan was in the garage working on his car, a hobby he'd picked up as a way to de-stress, when Jake appeared in the doorway. Hey, Dad, can we talk? Of course. Ryan wiped his hands on a rag. What's up? Jake leaned against the workbench. I've been thinking about what happened. With Grandpa Clint. Ryan's heart clenched, but he kept his expression neutral. Okay, I want to understand it better. Not just what he did, but why. Like the psychology of it. Any particular reason? I'm thinking about majoring in psychology. Maybe becoming a therapist, helping kids who've been through what I went through. Ryan felt a surge of pride so strong it almost knocked him over. Jake, that's incredible. You think so? I think you'd be amazing at it. You have empathy, you've been through it yourself, and you have a good heart. Jake smiled. I learned from the best. They talked for an hour about Jake's plans, his interests, his hopes for the future. Ryan listened, offered advice when asked, but mostly just marveled at the person his son had become. When Jake went back inside, Ryan stood alone in the garage, feeling the weight of the journey. That confrontation in Clint's garage 5 years ago, it had been the moment everything changed. The moment Ryan stopped being passive and started being the protector his family needed. He'd given Clint 48 hours to leave. Clint had run, been caught, faced justice. The threat had been eliminated, the family saved. And in the aftermath, they'd all grown stronger. Ryan thought about what he'd said that day. There won't be a conversation. There won't be a warning. He'd meant it, would have followed through if necessary. But he'd never had to. Clint had been a coward who ran when confronted with consequences. And sometimes that was enough. Justice didn't always require violence. Sometimes it required courage, intelligence, and a willingness to stand your ground. Ryan had done that. They all had. And look at what they'd built in the aftermath. A family stronger than before. A son thriving. A marriage deeper. Lives dedicated to helping others. That was victory. Real, lasting victory. Ryan put away his tools, closed the garage door, and went inside. Sophia was in the kitchen making dinner. Jake was at the table doing homework. Cooper was sleeping in his favorite sunny spot. Normal. Beautiful. Precious. Ryan kissed Sophia's cheek, squeezed Jake's shoulder as he passed, and felt gratitude wash over him. They'd won. Not just survived, but truly won. And that made everything worth it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen. And I'll see you there.